I'm Yair Pinto, and this is my state. The phrase "from the river to the sea" first started being used in the early 1960s as a political slogan of social activists who called for a return to the borders of Palestine, so-called the borders that existed before the British Mandate from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, and some would say even more than that. For many Palestinians, this statement represents the right of return to the towns and villages where they left before the establishment of the State of Israel. It also represents a longing for a unified, independent Palestinian state that includes Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem. The phrase implies a vision that does not include a Jewish state in Israel. What's in this statement that causes such extreme responses around the world? One reason is that the phrase means different things to different people, and over the years has become more and more polarized. But there is much more than that to unpack. We are at our starting point, Qasr el-Yahud, which loosely means the place of the Jews. The Jordan River flows between the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea, about 105 kilometers. Here, at Qasr el-Yahud, is the lowest point topographically. It is also the most shallow point of the river. According to Jewish tradition, the children of Israel crossed the Jordan River here, in this point, and entered the land of the promise, Canaan. According to the New Testament, John the Baptist baptized Jesus and his followers here. So this site is very holy to Judaism and to Christianity. You may have noticed the flags behind me. This is actually the border between Israel and Jordan. So we are starting our drive from the Jordan Valley and heading west to Tel Aviv on the Mediterranean Sea. We are on Route 1. This is a major highway in Israel, and it's 96 kilometers long. It connects Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Ma'ale Adumim, and Jericho, and it's also known as the Jerusalem-Tel Aviv Highway. The Palestinian Liberation Organization was established in 1964, and they officially adopted the expression "from the river to the sea" as the main goal of the movement. This majority increased the popularity of the slogan. It's really an official part of the Palestinian Liberation Organization's charter, where they write that their national ambition is sovereignty from the river to the sea. I am now standing in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. We are halfway of reaching Tel Aviv and the Mediterranean Sea. You remember? From the river to the sea. So we are halfway there. Jerusalem has been the spiritual, religious, and national center of the Jewish people for over 3,000 years. Where under the rulership of King David, Jerusalem became the capital of Israel. Since then, there have always been Jews living in this holy city, no matter who was ruling it. We have reached the end of the slogan. We have reached the sea. We are at the entrance to the Israeli city of the future, the New York of Israel, and one of the high-tech capitals of the Middle East, the city of Tel Aviv. It is known as the first Hebrew city. It's also the second largest city in Israel after Jerusalem. The year of its official establishment is 1909. Understand that Tel Aviv was the center of the Jewish territory according to the partition plan drawn up by the United Nations in 1948. 2,300 Jews lived here at that time, and it was surrounded on all sides by hostile Arab villages. After the partition plan was passed in the UN, the hostilities between Jews and Arabs turned into the War of Independence. After Arab armies invaded the land of Israel, the city was bombed several times by planes of the Egyptian Air Force and was attacked from the air and from the sea. On May 14, 1948, the establishment of the State of Israel was announced in Beit Dizengoff at 16 Rothschild Boulevard. Tel Aviv continued to experience terror attacks later as well. At the beginning of the 21st century, the Second Intifada broke out, and Tel Aviv again suffered from many attacks, including the attack on the Dolphinarium in 2001. 5 different attacks occurred during this period. Apart from the emotional trauma, these events caused real damage to the sense of security and the economy of the city. At that time, the morale amongst the city's residents was low. More recently, however, we are seeing an increase in population and the continued development of the city center and the strips along the Ayalon routes. During this period, Tel Aviv's image as the center of Israel's cultural life was strengthened, especially the nightlife, the culture, and the cuisines. Welcome to the promenade and the Sea of Tel Aviv. Look, I understand that it's catchy. From the river to the sea, it's catchy. But after research, it really seems that no one understands the hidden meaning of this phrase. The meaning is the destruction of Israel. A professor of political science from the University of California revealed some of the ignorance of some of the pro-Palestinian protesters. This was published in Vint magazine. Only 47% of the students who support the call from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, knew how to correctly identify the name of the river and the name of the sea. The rest of the answers included the Nile and the Euphrates River, the Caribbean Sea, the Dead Sea, and the Atlantic Ocean. More than 10% of the participants in the study thought that Yasser Arafat was the first prime minister of Israel. When asked in which decade the Israelis and the Palestinians signed the Oslo Accords, more than a quarter of the supporters of the call claimed that such peace agreements had never been signed. 60% of these students reduced their support for the slogan when they learned that it involved the subjugation, deportation, or extermination of 7 million Jews and 2 million Israeli Arabs. These figures prove to us that the majority of Palestine supporters in the world are not at all aware of the real situation happening here in Israel, and that as soon as they are verified with the facts, they remain speechless. So we learn which river and which sea, and we learn that the world is attacked by deception. How do you fight deception? You share the truth and you pray. So please join us in prayer for the peace of Jerusalem and share our videos with many people, as many as you can, so that everyone will know what is happening in Israel